Mary Todd Lincoln was the wife of the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. She served as First Lady from 1861 until his assassination in 1865 at Ford's Theater. She was the daughter of Alyssa Parker and Robert Smith Todd, pioneer settlers of Kentucky.
Mary had 6 siblings. She was the 4th. After her mother died in 1825, her father remarried, and Mary, who despised her stepmother, spent more time with her grandmother. Mary was 6 when her mother died.
The slaves in the Todd family were kindly treated, and both of Mary's maternal grandmothers emancipated their slaves in their wills. However, Mary knew all about the darker side of slavery too. On the way to school, Mary passed a whipping post where slaves were beaten.
Nearly 21, she went to Springfield, Illinois, to live with her sister, Miss Elizabeth Edwards. Here she met Abraham Lincoln. A couple years later, they got married on November 14, 1842. Despite Elizabeth's objections during the early years of her marriage, Mary was fairly happy. Despite the untimely death of her 3-year-old son, Edward Baker Lincoln.
Mary Lincoln achieved her greatest ambition when her husband was elected president. However, the 4 years as First Lady brought sorrow rather than happiness. Numerous people unjustly suspected her of disloyalty to the Union because she came from the South. The death of her third son brought her great deep grief. In 1850, her husband's protracted absences while he campaigned or served in Congress, Mary became First Lady on the eve of the Civil War, which was from 1861 to 1865. Her position was a difficult one given by her Southern birth.
Though her position fulfilled her high social ambitions, Miss Lincoln's years in the White House mingled misery and triumph. An orgy of spreading stirred resentful comment. While the Civil War dragged on, Southerners scored her as a traitor to her birth.
The fact that some of her relatives, including her half-brothers, were fighting for the Confederacy. Her gracious performance as hostess drew initial praise, but she was later criticized for extravagant spending on her wardrobe.
She was also later criticized for spending on the White House furnishing, which caused her husband considerable distress. The death of her second son in 1862 of thyroid fever added her strain, and reports began to circulate about her irrational behavior.
Citizens loyal to the Union suspected her of treason. When she entertained, critics accused her of unpatriotic extravagance. When utterly distraught, she curtained her entertaining after her son Willie died in 1862. They accused her of shrinking her social duties.
The next 17 years held nothing but sorrow with her son Tad. She traveled the board in search for help, tortured by ideas of her financial situation. After Tad died in 1871, she slipped into a world of illusion where poverty and murder pursued her.
A misunderstood and tragic figure, she had passed away in 1882 at her sister's home in Springfield, the same house from which she had walked a bride of Abraham Lincoln 40 years later before. She had died at the age of 63.